Hello and welcome to Face Off here on France 24. This coming Sunday, the left will hold the first round of a primary to designate its candidate for this year's presidential election. But as the contenders debate on TV and hold meetings across the country, it could not matter in the end. The winner is indeed slated to be only a bit player in this April's election, as other rivals are well ahead in the polls. On the right and on the far right, of course, but also more worrying for the ruling socialists on the left, where the socialist candidate is lagging behind the far left leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon and rising star Emmanuel Macron. With me to discuss the future of the left in this presidential election, Jean-Marc Gonin with the Figaro magazine and Philip Turl with Radio France Internationale. The phenomenon of the early stages of this presidential campaign is a former banker, a former economy minister of François Hollande by the name of Emmanuel Macron. He's decided that he will run without the backing of a political party. He's created his own movement, and to the surprise of many, it seems to be working. He's riding fairly high in the polls, and especially he's drawing huge crowds when he holds rallies across the country, like he did in the northern city of Lille recently.
This crowd in Lille, northeast France, came for Emmanuel Macron. He's the former investment banker and economy minister in the Socialist Party government who is causing a stir in the presidential race. He's an independent candidate and is gaining in the polls on some of the front runners on both the left and the right, including the National Front's Marine Le Pen.
All those who are afraid should not give in to their words of hatred.
He's different to Fiona Valls. That's why we're here.
For me, he's the only hope for the left.
He's the only candidate who is free of party influence, so he'll actually be able to carry out his proposals, which are in effect a revolution.
Away from the cheering crowds, big electoral battles will take place in deprived areas like nearby Neux-les-Mines. Unemployment is high in this mining town, and people are feeling fed up.
I got nothing at the job centre.
I know, that's not right.
There is never enough staff, no jobs. Perhaps this will lead to something.
I hear this anger, and I say the National Front won't offer any help.
Macron's En Marche movement is gathering momentum. His next big rally will be in France's second city, Lyon, in early February.
Jean-Marc Gonin, there is a Macron phenomenon. Maybe it will not last, but the polls are putting him in third position right now, but the crowds are really surprising. This Monday, he held a rally in Western France. The hall was full and people were queuing outside. How can you explain that, if it can be explained?
There's no doubt there's a movement that is born now. You can't doubt it anymore. The socialists, the traditional ones, were very deriding about Macron like 2 months ago still. But now everybody's panicked because Macron is kidnapping, is hijacking the plane towards his own goals. Why is that? I think he's the last coffin, the last nail to the socialist coffin, the Socialist Party coffin, in the sense that anybody who will come out winning the primary, be it the former Prime Minister Valls, be it Montebourg, be it Hamon, the three, let's say, favorites of that race, they will probably lag behind Macron in the polls, and they will have, if they stay in race, they might be doomed to lose. Macron is winning because the fact of not being supported by the party is now an advantage. It's an asset in comparison to those who are really burdened by the Socialist Party, which has been so divided in the last years that nobody believes it anymore.
Right. Philip, what's striking is I mentioned his background. He was never elected. He has no political party, and nevertheless, there seems to be something happening with him. He is neither on the right, neither on the left. He's kind of someone who comes from the moon. I don't know.
Flying object, as they call it in French, or
Right.
an unidentified political flying object. What they used to say about Ségolène Royal in the old days. There are several reasons for this. I think the first one is that if you look at the state of the Socialist Party after 5 years, almost 5 years under François Hollande's rule, the president is at the lowest of the low in the opinion polls. There is
He's not even running for re-election.
Dissatisfaction over the state of what the government is in, what François Hollande has done. And as you say, as a result of that, he's decided not to run for a second term in office. That's the first time that's ever happened. If you go round France talking to people and say, what do you think about the political class? They all say, well, we're tired of seeing the same old faces. We're tired of the same old recipes. We're tired of once the right, then the left, then the left, then the right in office. We want something different. And Marine Le Pen from the far-right National Front has been able to take advantage of this over the last few years, presenting herself as someone new, someone fresh, someone with ideas that haven't been tried before. So now we have this unidentified political flying object who is Emmanuel Macron, who's intelligently decided not to run in the Socialist Party primaries, who's young. He's going to be 40 years old this year. He's a former investment banker. He represents something new, something which will spread across all the political spectrum, both on the left, on the right. And one other thing which I think is very important is that François Mitterrand, the old former French president who died just over 20 years ago in 1996, said that the only way you can win an election in France is to build a strong political party in the face of another strong political party, which is why we need a strong left wing face-to-face with a strong right wing. And Emmanuel Macron is doing exactly the opposite. So at the same time, he's defeating the Socialist Party and he's putting paid to all what François Mitterrand constructed in French politics.
Right. You'll answer. We'll just play one of the polls of that we're taking for the first round voting intentions. Obviously, since we don't know who the socialist candidate will be, there are a few options. Marine Le Pen would arrive first ahead of François Fillon, the conservative candidate in round one. Emmanuel Macron would be third, both if Manuel Valls, the outgoing prime minister, wins the socialist primary, or if one of his main contenders, a former minister of the economy, Arnaud Montebourg, wins. So in both cases, no one on the left would make it to the second round, and François Fillon would go on to defeat Marine Le Pen. But, as we said, Emmanuel Macron has been rising. Will it last? And the big question is, can he upset the prediction that it will be the right versus the far right in the runoff of this election? Is this possible? Because this was seen as absolutely impossible until recently.
If we remain after the primary with three main candidates from the left, that is Macron plus the winner of the primary plus Mélenchon, I think the math is still the same. But now, the world is going around now that the winner of the primary might be willing to step down in the end to add his votes to whoever, Macron or Mélenchon. So
this would be a sea change, obviously.
This would change the math. This is a far-fetched thing now that they are running for, and they will have 2 rounds. So nobody will say, this is we are lagging behind. I will step down in favor of someone else. This is unimaginable. But what will happen in the coming weeks? This is not a mere hypothesis. Now it could.
It's a possibility, and I mean we've heard in private, but also in public, some socialist leaders, including the former companion of François Hollande, former presidential candidate, Ségolène Royal, clearly hints that she could throw her support behind Emmanuel Macron. And so you're seeing socialist leaders, people around François Hollande saying, well, maybe if he's riding high in the polls, we need to upset this right versus far right match this could be the way to do it.
Well, there are even rumours flying around at the moment that even Francois Hollande is going to vote for Emmanuel Macron, although that hasn't been officially said yet. But there are rumours flying around in the press that he's thinking about it.
Like theatre plays better than watching the primary debate on television.
Well, I think he sees himself as he should be in that primary debate and rather regrets now that he's not in there, having decided not to run for a second term. It depends what they want. I mean, are they willing to fall on their sword, the winner of the Socialist primary debate, and say, I'm going to throw my weight behind the candidate on the left who is going to show the greatest chance of winning, with perhaps a faint chance that we might make it into the second round of the presidential election. But at the same time doing that, they're almost putting paid to the future of the Socialist Party is going to be dead afterwards, because if they're going to join someone who's not even a member of the Socialist Party and back that candidate to win the presidential election, the Socialist Party will be left in absolute tatters. Or they can say, right, well, I'm going to run anyway and maybe come fifth in the first round. Therefore, I won't get through to the second round. But I will be in a position to take control of the Socialist Party afterwards, and then maybe I can rebuild it ahead of the next presidential elections in 2022. So that's the bet at the moment. What do they want? Do they really want to stop Macron from getting into the next round or not? Do they want to try stop Marine Le Pen getting into the second round or not? That's the question. And for the moment, no one really has the answer, and I don't think any of the candidates running in the primary has the answer to that question either.
Okay, we'll have a first answer this coming Sunday when round one of the Socialist primary takes place. We'll be covering this, of course, here on France 24. We'll discuss this result next week and what impact it will have on this clearly suspenseful presidential election that will take place at the end of April. We'll see you next week here on Face Off.